is heartening, but it still speaks to the potential that someone who had access and knowledge of that base perhaps perpetrated this attack.
Dan, given what we know right now, what stands out to you?
Well, that's the thing is Boris, is we don't know very much. What we don't know is what we don't know. And we're going to find out information, what we will know. What has been told right now that the rest of the base and the community at large, it is no longer a threat. The fact that they're able to put that out there shows that they know that the individual is in custody, that they've already been able to determine that he or she doesn't have secondary individuals, that they're working for with another person, that they're the vehicle that they carried. And that the fact that the thing that strikes me is that there were 40 minutes from the first response, the incident was being reported to the individual in custody. That's 40 minutes. A shooter can do a lot of damage. And that there were only 5 individuals that were shot. Those 5, it's a horrible incident for those 5 families. But an individual who has 40 minutes and wants to do as much damage as possible, to me, it's striking that this may be more of a targeted situation, in my opinion, than it would be a mass shooting like Fort Hood, where he took it in a cafeteria.
Yeah, and Colonel, I wonder what stands out to you. We're looking here at the timeline. It was 40 minutes for the shooter to be apprehended, but it was a matter of less than 10 minutes between law enforcement being dispatched and the military base going on lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown is one of the key elements, Brianna, when it comes to a situation like this, and on both Army and Air Force bases, as well as Navy installations. When there is an incident like this, the very first thing that the installation commander will do is they will put the installation on lockdown, because that then keeps the traffic to a minimum. It prevents other people from getting in, and it also prevents people from being endangered more than would be the case otherwise. So this becomes the critical tool basically that an installation commander has when they're confronted with a situation like this. We've had situations before where banks, for example, have been robbed on base, and they would basically lock the base down, and that would make it very easy to apprehend the bank robber. In those cases, it's a bit different, of course, than this, because this being an active shooter situation, or previously an active shooter situation, there's basically a bit more danger to it than you would otherwise see. But the fact that the base was put on lockdown so quickly shows that the installation had practiced this kind of an event, and they knew what procedures they needed to implement in order to minimize the impact of this active shooter incident.
That is a really good point. And notably in Isabel's reporting, she pointed out that some of those lockdowns in most areas had been lifted. Donnell, I wonder what that tells you about the investigation and what it's like to process a scene at a place like a military installation.
Well, these military installations, if you've ever been on any of these joint bases, they're massive, and this is one of the largest ones we have in the country. Think of your small town. That base has everything that a small town would have: a movie theater, a bowling alley. And so they were clearly able to isolate the threat to a certain building or a certain section of the base, and then lift that lockdown in a more methodical approach. But the areas that individual came through, that area that an individual did that shooting, is going to be on total lockdown while the forensics happen. And the press release that's gone out so far is very specific. It said casualties. It didn't say anything about fatalities. If there are fatalities, whether they're on the base or they occur in the hospital, someone expires from their wounds, then that's going to take that investigation to a whole nother level. Medical examiner will have to come in. There'll be more deeper forensics that have to occur. And so right now they're processing that crime scene, regardless of how big the crime scene is. They're going to make sure that it's locked down, that people aren't going to accidentally go in there. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get some answers. And it's going to take some time to get identifications on those victims.
All right, Donnell, and we are learning this is audio that was coming out of the public safety channel there in Liberty County, that there had possibly been 5 patients. They had EMS trucks on scene. Everything is secured. multiple people injured. So obviously we're looking for some details on that. But Donnell, it's interesting. I do want to ask you, since you did the after action report on the Navy Yard shooting, which claimed the lives of a dozen people here in Washington, D.C., as these things happen, Fort Hood, Navy Yard, there have been others since that weren't as fatal as Navy Yard.